You're picking people to talk to a particular view that you have of the world. Would you say that when the revolution took place in Iran in 1979, that everything went according to international law? Nobody was tortured, nobody was killed, and since then, that in Iran has never broken any rules. When you get into a savage situation, which a war is, you have a lot of problems. What people have to do who are trying to run the war is to avoid the problems that you don't have to have. And that's what Obama has been trying to do with Guantanamo, and unfortunately, he was stopped by the American people. The fear Americans have had about bringing these people to America, putting them before a court, a special court, and deciding what should be done with them. Most of them would probably either have been released, if it was really 92%, or some would have been put into jail for who knows how long. However, we are now speaking about a war situation which Obama has been trying to get out of, and there are lots of reasons why he might sign a bill which might have some bad parts to it, just like why would you have a revolution if you're going to kill people, if you're going to torture them and put them in prison?
Yeah, the part about the revolution, why you kill people and torture people, we got to put that into perspective, don't we, George Lambrakis, if we want to talk about numbers, and of course, when it took place, how it took place. But that could be another topic for the debate. Sarah Flounders,
sure.
Can you talk to George Lambrakis about the fact that I'm looking at the number of inmates, particularly the 86 that have been cleared for transfer or release. Why haven't they been released?
Well, they haven't been released supposedly on the idea that it needs congressional approval, but we have a president who is, by executive authority, staging targeted assassinations around the world. So he certainly found a lot of ways around congressional approval on real life and death war questions. So I just want to say, in terms of the previous speaker, that the wars that the U.S. has entered into were based on lies, whether weapons of mass destruction in Iraq or that this was a war on terror in Afghanistan. These are really, the U.S. today is the center of a global empire. There's no denying that. No other country in the world has bases in 135 countries, but the U.S. does, has troops around the world, can't be denied, uses its economic power and its military power for corporate domination in the U.S. This is not my view, these are the actual facts. And so it's important he can say war is unpleasant. Of course war is unpleasant. It's also, I thought he made a very important attack on the Iranian Revolution, and just to say that there was systematic torture in Iran under the US-backed Shah dictatorship by the Savak secret police, who had a lot of their training from the CIA. And there was a revolutionary upsurge of millions of Iranians against that US domination and the control of the secret police and the systematic use of torture in Iran. So these policies of torture don't continue indefinitely. They will lead to, and have led in the past, to forms of real resistance where people refuse to accept torture, targeted assassination, secret rendition policies, kidnapping policies against any country in the world. And it's important, I'm speaking right from here in the US, it's important to challenge this government on their war policies, on defenseless people around the world, and also challenge their imprisonment policies in the US, with the largest prison population in the world is right here today in the US. So the idea of moving prisoners from Guantanamo to some supermax prison in the US, where there are already thousands of people who suffer in solitary confinement under atrocious conditions right here, that's not a solution. We have to deal with the political repression here in the U.S. internally and the war policies around the world.
Very well. Let's take a quick time out and listen to one of the viewer comments before I get to you. I'm sorry about that, Sir Flounders. Let's listen to the viewer comment number 1 as posted on the Facebook page.
This situation is truly disgusting. I am so sickened by it. Close that evil place down. And if I had my way, I would like to punish the perpetrators of these crimes against humanity. End Guantanamo now.
That's viewer comment there. George Lambrakis, Obama, second time around, saying he's going to close this prison down. Is he going to be able to do it? Will he follow through?
I hope he will. There are people on the Republican side who say he won't because of the elements that we've already spoken about, which is Americans being afraid of having them come into the U.S. physically. I think, however, the idea, I must agree with your previous speaker, even though she has an agenda which is far, far bigger about being against everything that this government stands for. I think I agree with her that the president ought to be able to do it by his own authority, provided the Congress does not come out specifically to stop him from doing it. Because if the Congress comes out specifically to stop him from using his authority, he will have a serious problem doing it. And I don't know where he's going. It's possible that we will soon see him do something like that.
Sir Flounders, our guest George Lambrakis talks about your agenda and his opinion that is far greater than what the U.S. government's is. I believe that you're talking about truth when you back it up by your facts. Give a response to George Lambrakis as a final thought on this, and if U.S. President Barack Obama is going to follow through this time.
Yeah, I don't think they are facts
well,
that
it's not
the
my
lady is
agenda.
talking about.
There
it's
is a real
views.
demand for justice in the world today.
Okay, we're going to leave it there.
It's not only my views. There is a real demand for justice in the world today. And there is resistance to U.S. policy coming from many directions in the world today.
Very well. We're fresh out of time. Thank you very much. That's Sarah Flounders talking to us from New York. She's the co-director of International Action Center. And George Lambrakis, thank you, former U.S. diplomat talking to us from London. And of course, thank you for watching another edition of The Debate. From Mikava Takwa and the entire team in the capital, Tehran. It's goodbye.